Tonight on News Prime, Army says Lukarawa terror group will soon be history. In business, oil price surges as traders face uncertain future in the Middle East. On the foreign scene, South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol accused of plunging country into chaos. And in sports, Christian Pulisic will miss AC Milan's Champions League clash. Hello and a very warm welcome to all of our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Prime on Global Television, coming to you from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Uyi Agmofwegbe. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and free-to-air on Nightcomsat. Tonight, let's begin by telling you the Nigerian Army has performed a symbolic lowering and hoisting of the command flag at the Army headquarters at Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede assumed command as the 24th Chief of Army Staff. Oluyede was appointed by President Bola Tinubu on 30 October in an acting capacity following the death of his predecessor, Lieutenant General Taoreed Lagbaja. The symbolic lowering and hoisting of the command flag, which signifies the beginning of his tenure, came after the Senate and House of Representatives had confirmed his appointment. In the meantime, Chief of Army Staff Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede has assured Nigerians that the Lukarawa terror group will soon be a thing of the past, citing ongoing joint operations with the armies of neighboring countries. Oluyede stated this while addressing State House correspondents after a closed-door meeting with President Bola Tinubu at Aso Rock Villa in Abuja. The Army Chief highlighted the importance of collaboration with neighboring countries to tackle the cross-border threat posed by the group. The Lukarawa group is believed to have emerged around 2016 in Sokoto State as a self-defense militia initiated by local leaders to combat banditry. However, it evolved into a radical faction imposing strict religious laws and exerting control over local communities. Elsewhere, President Bola Tinubu has lauded the achievement of Nigerian-born Dr. Bolu Ogunyemi, a clinical associate professor of medicine at the Memorial University of Newfoundland, on his election as president-elect of the Canadian Medical Association. In a press release signed by a special advisor to the president on information and strategy, Bayo Onanuga, President Tinubu described Ogunyemi's emergence as a testament to visionary leadership, dedication to excellence, and compassionate commitment to enhancing the welfare of others. The president celebrated the historic milestone, noting Ogunyemi's remarkable contributions as a dermatologist based in St. John's, Newfoundland, and his role as a visiting specialist in Labrador City since 2018. Yet another Nigerian put in the country on the map for the right reasons. The National Assembly Service Commission has approved the appointment of Andrew Ogbonaya Womba as the new clerk of the Senate. This was contained in a statement by the executive chairman of the commission, Emmanuel Ayingo. He said the commission approved the appointment, which takes effect from December 11, 2024, at its meeting held on December 4, 2024. Prior to the appointment, Owombia was the secretary of the Directorate of Legislative Budgets and Planning. Dr. Obasio Koha now takes the position. Human rights activist Dele Farotimi has been granted a 50 million naira bail by the Federal High Court in Ado-Ekiti, Ekiti State. The presidential candidate of the African Action Congress in the 2023 election, Omoyele Sowore, via his ex-handle disclosed the court's decision. The court granted Farotimi a 50 million naira bail with a surety in like sum and landed property. The case was adjourned to January 29, 2025. Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, has attributed the country's education and healthcare delivery to corruption. Abbas stated this in Abuja on the occasion of the International Anti-Corruption Day, which was held at the National Assembly Complex in Abuja. International Anti-Corruption Day has been observed annually on December 9 since the passage of the United Nations Convention Against Corruption on October 31, 2003, to raise public awareness for anti-corruption. In his keynote address, Abbas noted that if not curbed, corruption will constitute a formidable obstacle to the nation's collective progress. Let's turn to Benue State now, where the chapter of the Judiciary Staff Union of Nigeria has locked up the gates of the State High Court in Makurdi, the state capital, over the non-implementation of the new minimum wage. Reports say the High Court in Makurdi observed members of the union barricading the gates and preventing entry into the premises. The action, according to the Assistant Secretary of the Union in the state, Jolie David, was as a result of the non-implementation of the 75,000 naira new minimum wage to members. David said the union had issued notification of indefinite strike action over non-payment of the new minimum wage. The candidate of the People's Democratic Party in the November 16 governorship election in Ondo State, Agbola Ajayi, says he has filed a petition at the Ondo State Election Petition Tribunal against the victory of Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa. This development came 24 days after the governorship poll. The Independent National Electoral Commission declared Aiyedatiwa of the All Progressives Congress as the winner of the election, having polled a total of 366,781 votes to defeat his closest rival, Ajayi, who had 117,845 votes. Let's turn to other stories for you tonight. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs has urged the public to disregard a fake list of ambassadorial nominees circulating on social media. This was contained in a statement issued by the ministry spokesman, Kimebi Ebiemfa. The ministry clarified that no such appointments had been made, emphasizing that the appointment of ambassadors is solely the prerogative of the president and no such appointments have been made in that regard. The ad hoc staff recruited by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, for the November 16 governorship election in Ondo State have accused the commission of allegedly failing to pay their allowances. 22 days after the poll, workers numbering over 17,000 expressed frustration over the delayed payments despite promises made by INEC to disburse their allowances shortly after the election. Meanwhile, the Commission spokesperson in Ondo State, Dr. Temitokbe Akomo, refuted the allegations, stating that the Commission had begun paying the allowances but noted that some delays were caused by banking issues. The Director General of Kano State Pilgrims Welfare Board, Lamin Dambapa, has called on all intending pilgrims in the state to ensure the completion of their Hajj deposit. Dambapa, in a press statement made available to newsmen at the end of a one-hour radio program, emphasized the importance of adhering to the prescribed timeline for the sacred pilgrimage. He clarified that the annual Hajj pilgrimage is fixed religious obligation that cannot be deferred under any circumstances. You're watching the live broadcast of News Prime on Global Television, coming to you from the nation's capital, Abuja. When News Prime returns shortly, oil prices climb on China optimism and Syria tensions. Details of these as well as business and sports stories for you after this break. Please do stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. You're watching the live broadcast of News Prime on Global Television with Uyi Agmofwebe. Now let's turn to business. World oil prices have jumped on fresh moves by China to boost its economy, and as traders tackled and tracked an uncertain future for Syria and the wider crude-rich Middle East. Major stock markets diverged as investors reacted to political crisis in South Korea and France, and gold, seen as haven investment, gained nearly 1%. Oil prices rose more than 1% as traders tracked developments in Syria after President Bashar al-Assad fled the country over the weekend as Islamist-led rebels swept into Damascus, the nation's capital. Investors also reacted to news that China, where President Xi Jinping and other top leaders said they would adopt a more relaxed approach to monetary policy as they hashed out plans to boost the economy next year. Minister of State for Agriculture and Food, Aliyu Abdullahi, has reiterated the federal government's commitment in improving food security in the country. The minister made this known on a television program, noting that the nation's commitment to food security is with the launch of a new initiative that is aimed at improving agricultural productivity and mechanization. He further stressed the government's ongoing efforts to address the challenges in the agricultural sector, as food security is a top priority under the renewed hope agenda of the current administration of President Bola Tinubu. The National Information Technology Development Agency has issued a warning about a new version of the Grandorero banking malware, which is targeting users globally through sophisticated phishing campaigns. An advisory released by the agency's Computer Emergency Readiness and Response Team described Grandorero as a significant threat, using what it calls advanced techniques, including screen overlay attacks and remote device control, to steal sensitive information such as banking credentials and personal data. The country's technology regulator explained that the malware is primarily distributed via phishing emails and fraudulent websites that deceive victims into downloading malicious software disguised as legitimate updates or documents. Residents in Kaduna and Katsina State have lamented the scarcity of cash, especially as the Christmas celebrations approach. Some points of sale POS vendors lamented the unnecessary cash shortage, as banks were no longer dispensing cash of more than 20,000 naira, calling for urgent action by concerned authorities to not hamper the forthcoming Christmas and end-of-year festivities. Also, some customers patronizing point-of-sale vendors have decried the high service rates, stating that the bank also charges for transactions. In the meantime, Vice President Kashif Shettima had, during the 2024 Bankers Committee retreat in Abuja, urged Nigerian deposit money banks to ensure the seamless availability of Naira notes to the banking public. Nigeria has ranked second among African countries with the most artificial intelligence firms in Africa, solidifying its position as a key tech hub. Research by the Center of Intellectual Property and Information Technology Law in Kenya estimates that there are around 2,400 AI firms across Africa, with 40% of them being startups. Nigeria, often considered the heart of Africa's tech ecosystem, has attracted attention from GTEX, the world's largest technology event. Debuting in Marrakesh, Morocco, GTEX is set to open investment opportunities in Nigeria by 2025, further cementing the country's place as the largest startup ecosystem on the continent. The National Bureau of Statistics (NBS) says foreign investments in Nigeria's telecommunications sector fell sharply to $14.4 million in the third quarter of 2024, marking an 87% decline from $113.42 million recorded in the second quarter. In this context, capital importation refers to the inflow of foreign funds or investments into Nigeria's telecommunications sector, which includes all forms of capital brought into the country by foreign entities for the purpose of business investment. The Bureau revealed in its capital importation reports that the figure reflected a 77% or year-on-year drop compared with the $64.05 million attracted in the same period of the previous year. On the foreign scene, a Ghanaian actor, John Dumelo, has secured a seat in the parliament representing the Ayawaso West Wogon constituency. The actor turned politician, running on the platform on the National Democratic Congress (NDC), won the 2024 Ghana general elections held on Saturday by garnering 40,561 votes. The 40-year-old, who expressed deep gratitude to his supporters and promised to deliver on his campaign pledges, defeated incumbent Lydia Larson of the New Patriotic Party (NPP), who received 27,377 votes. Let's turn to stories beyond Africa now. Russia has declined to confirm reports that toppled Syrian President Bashar al-Assad has fled to Moscow, insisting it was surprised by the rebel takeover. The Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov told journalists he has nothing to say as for Assad's whereabouts, noting that if Russia granted asylum to Assad and his family, this would be a decision taken by Russian President Vladimir Putin. Reports say Assad and his family were in Moscow as after he had fled the country as Islamist-led rebels entered Damascus. Assad's son has been studying in the Russian capital. Kremlin is the official residence of the President of Russia, located in Moscow, and serves as a historic fortress and the central hub of Russian political power. Less than a week after the South Korean President Yoon Suk Yeol plunged the country into chaos by briefly imposing martial law, the Justice Ministry in South Korea has said the president has been banned from leaving the country. Yoon sent special forces and helicopters to Parliament on the night of December 3 before lawmakers forced him to rescind the order by rejecting his decree. The hugely unpopular leader narrowly survived an impeachment motion in Parliament on Saturday as huge crowds braved freezing temperatures to call for his ouster. However, despite remaining in office, a clutch of investigations has been closing in on Yoon and his close allies, including a probe for alleged insurrection. Let's bring you some assessments now from the world of sports. Cole Palmer has rewritten Premier League history, becoming the most reliable penalty taker in the competition's history. In Chelsea's thrilling 4-3 victory over Tottenham Hotspur, Palmer converted 2 penalties, taking his perfect record to 12 penalties scored from 12 attempts. This feat surpasses the legendary Yaya Toure, who had scored all 11 penalties he took for Manchester City during his illustrious career. Brilliant and impressive altogether now. Christian Pulisic will miss AC Milan's Champions League clash with Red Star Belgrade with a calf injury. The Serie A club AC Milan made the announcement saying that Pulisic had hurt the soleus muscle of his right calf during Milan's 2-1 defeat at new league leaders Atalanta on Friday, when he was forced off in the first half with scores level. He stated that a new test will be carried out in the week's time. USA attacker Pulisic will also miss Milan's home fixture with struggling Genoa in Serie A on Sunday. As we bring Global Television News Prime to a close, let's bring you some of the summary of our big stories tonight. Chief of Army Staff Lieutenant General Olufemi Oloyede has assured Nigerians that the Lukarawa terror group would soon be a thing of the past, citing ongoing joint operations with the armies of neighboring countries. In business, world oil prices have jumped on fresh moves by China to boost its economy, and as traders track an uncertain future for Syria and the wider crude-rich Middle East. On the foreign scene, less than a week after the South Korean President Yoon Suk Yeol plunged the country into chaos by briefly imposing martial law, the Justice Ministry in South Korea says the president has been banned from leaving the country. And finally, in sports tonight, we told you Christian Pulisic will miss AC Milan's Champions League clash with Red Star Belgrade with a calf injury. And that's News Prime for you tonight, and it came to you from the nation's capital, Abuja, on Global Television. We would love to remind you that Global TV is on DSTV channel 365, Star Times 276. You can also find us on free-to-air on Nigecomsat. We encourage you to follow us across all of our social media platforms, to engage with us using @GlobalTVNG, as well as other handles as you now see on your screen. On behalf of the entire production team here at Global Television's world headquarters in Abuja, Nigeria's capital, we say we are grateful for investing a part of your time with us. I am Uyi Agmofwegbe. We will see you again.